I'm so proud this afternoon to have the privilege and the honor of giving remarks to recognize these athletes who have worked hard, they have trained hard, they have followed the advice of their coaches and their parents, and persons who have encouraged them. They have followed their directions, and now they get to enjoy some of the fruits of their labor. They actually stopped the House of Assembly meeting, which is, I'm not sure if it's been done already, and if it's been done already, it's certainly rare that the House of Assembly, the highest decision-making body in the land, stops a session, a sitting, to recognize the accomplishments of you athletes. I want to express my sincere appreciation for everyone involved in the process of making this a reality. Sports is very important. Sometimes we do not ascribe the importance to sports that it deserves. Sports has provided many, many scholarships to students from the Virgin Islands. And given the fact that one of the biggest requests as Minister of Education that I get is for scholarships, I certainly appreciate the role that sports has played in helping to provide scholarships for young persons in the territory. And remember, it's important to go away and get your education, because even if you become a professional athlete, sometimes the careers of professional athletes are relatively short in comparison to other careers. And you want to make sure you have an education that you can fall back on. And some persons, of course, you may do well, but of course it's very competitive, and you may not go into professional sports. So we appreciate the fact that sports, and in particular track and field, has produced so many scholarships for the people of the Virgin Islands. As we know already, we have some athletes who have performed so well on the world stage, athletes that no doubt would have been role models for you athletes. Persons like Kyron McMaster, Tahisha Harrigan, Chantel Malone, Eldred Henry, Elena Phillips, all types of different athletes who are doing well on the world stage and who are considered as professional athletes. So you know that you can make a career out of athletics. Athletics teaches us important lessons about life. Some of you did not medal, but it's an important lesson there as well. There's an important lesson that you show good sportsmanship, even when you do not succeed. And even those who win, you have to be very encouraging to your teammates who may not have medaled, so that the next time, and I was riding in the mini-moke with a young lady there, I don't recall your name right now, and she said, next year I'm going to medal. Give her and all the other medal athletes who didn't medal a round of applause. I want to make it clear that this recognition ceremony is for you as well, because you are a part of the team. And everybody knows in teams, you know, it's not about the individual. It's not about the individual. It's about the entire team. It's about encouraging each other to do a great job. And you had a very important role to play in the success of the team. And I definitely want to appreciate you and congratulate you. Athletics as well, of course, it helps us to stay healthy. And I've decided that I want to participate in a troop in August. So, and with all of the food that they're feeding me at the House of Assembly right now, it's a very tall hill to climb. So I'm going to have to join you sometimes out there on the track and challenge Jalil to a sprint. And I'm going to walk hard and see if maybe if he jogs, I might have a chance. So sports helps us to be healthy. And one of the most important roles sports plays, I think, was displayed in the motorcade. Sports is one of the areas that encourages, probably the area that encourages most, national pride. You want to have pride in a territory, and that's something that we want to build in this territory. We want to build pride in being from the Virgin Islands. And it doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter where your parents are from. You know, when you compete with this flag, we all embrace you. We all embrace you. It doesn't even matter what type of passport you have. We embrace you as a patriot of the Virgin Islands. And I celebrate you. And I thank you for helping to build the pride in the Virgin Islands. And I can't lie to you. When I saw that video of Jalil competing in a sprint against two Jamaican sprinters who were probably favored to win the race. And you know, Jamaica, their athletes are king and queens of sprint. And I believe Shelly-Ann Price actually recognized Jalil, and Shelly-Ann is an Olympic gold medalist, I believe. So I can't tell you how my heart became so full when I saw Jalil actually look like if he had about 50 more meters, he would put a serious distance between him and those two Jamaican sprinters and all the other persons who ran. It was a feeling of great pride. It was a feeling of great joy. And I can't say enough. I can't say enough. The last thing I'll say is we should be passing a budget today. And, you know, that's going to allow me as Minister of Sport to be able to provide you the support to be able to compete at the track meets for the rest of the year, given the resources. We're going to make a serious commitment to sports because it's a commitment that is given very good returns. So I don't think that we need to hesitate to make the investment. In fact, I do believe that there's a check already ready for you, for the team, for the Athletics Association. And now that the budget is passed, I'm going to make a request for further funds for the association. Now, you know that the expectations now are great. So, and I believe that this experience, especially for the athletes who would have traveled for the first time, or even the athletes who traveled before to the CARIFTA Games, I believe that this experience has been a learning experience. It's been an experience where you actually see what really can happen if you train hard. And if you listen to your coaches, you actually, you know, it's not just theory now. It's not just your coaches harassing you. You've actually had the experience and you've tested it and you've seen that this is a formula that works. So going forward, we are expecting great things from you. And we're going to make the investment to see great things coming from you. And I must recognize before I finish the work of the BVI Olympic Committee, BVI Athletics Association, the international organizations, International Olympic Committee, and the Pan Am Games Organization for the role they played in providing the funding necessary to be able to rehabilitate the track. Because, of course, it would have been very difficult for you to achieve what you have achieved without having the proper facilities to be able to work. So give them a round of applause. Well, lastly, I just want to say thank you for all of the support. The persons who continue. This is a tremendous crowd of persons supporting. Even in the motorcade, lots of persons were waving. Lots of persons were excited. I think it bodes well for the future. So I thank you for your kind attention, and God bless you, and God bless these beautiful Virgin Islands.
The BVI Olympic Committee is a non-profit organization that represents and promotes the Olympic values of respect, excellence, and friendship. And on behalf of the BVI Olympic Committee, I congratulate you, the athletes, for your excellent results, which have been your hard-earned work being rewarded. We are excited to be sharing your journey to what we hope will continue success as you aim for the major games that are coming your way. So, you know, we are here today and things are looking bright and we are happy, we're smiling, but the road after 2017, everyone here knows, was not an easy one for all of us. After the storm, we awakened to a country that was damaged and devastated by the hurricanes. And when we looked around, most of us, and including myself, was very downtrodden and a little depressed on what was happening. And we went to when I finally got to town, I went to the track and I saw the condition. I said, well, we are really in trouble, that things are not going to be good. So a few days later, I heard that Chucky was there with his athletes cleaning up an area so they can practice, so they can train. And that really inspired all of us, because we say that here we are all depressed and worrying about our homes, and the athletes are out there trying to prepare to get ready for the season. A couple weeks later, I got a call from Kyron McMaster. He had since relocated to the US. And he said he wanted to know whether we were still planning on going to the Commonwealth Games, because they wanted to represent the BVI and to show that we are down, but we were not out. I said, well, Kyron, it's a tough call, but we are trying our best to see if we can make it. There again, another call came from the president of the Pan Am Sports. And he said to me, first of all, he greeted me and was very cheerful, said he had been trying to get a hold of me and couldn't find me for times. I said, well, you know the situation, it's a tough one. And he said, what can we do to help? I said, we do not have any facilities. Everything is destroyed, and the government is not in any position to help, because we went and we spoke to them and said, this is not the time. There's no help. So what can we do at this time when our athletes are raring to go, and we as an administration in sports find ourselves helpless? Well, I started making calls. We got together. We had some meetings with our group as we can, and I know Steve started doing his thing from his end, unknowing to me what he was doing and what I was doing, because we all knew that at the end of the day, that sports was going to make the change and make the world be aware again that the British Virgin Islands, although was devastated, was not destroyed. And true to be told, the history is there. Kyron went to the Commonwealth Games in 2018 and won the gold medal. And it, surprisingly, it was in April of 2018. And here we are again with another group doing the same thing in April of 2019. So to make a long story short, we secured, through the help of Pan Am Sports, $25,000 for equipment for the athletes. And then they said, what else can we do? I said, well, we need the track. He said, consider it done. Just let me know how you want it done. And you know, sometimes you get these promises from these international agencies. You say, yeah, he's just being a little, I don't think it's going to happen. But then they called us back and said, well, the contract is signed. Mondo is going to be coming down with another company to look at how we can start the rebuilding process. And that continued, and this year we had a track. And I think when we got the track finished, Percy, the coach there, said, Mr. Penn, I think it's too late. We're getting ready for CARIFTA, and it might be too late. I said, Percy, this may be the track that they may be running on when they go to Cayman, because it's the same company. And I turned on my TV, and there was the same color track, and I said, well, the kids are running at home. So everything went well. But today we are celebrating the return of the CARIFTA team. But it's important to remember that these athletes didn't just start here. They started running and jumping, coming up through the ranks with their coaches, learning the skills that are necessary to make them champions and leaders in their sport. Sport, whatever discipline, is not just about the medals and the glory. It is about adopting a healthy lifestyle for life, enhancing your physical capabilities, as well as an opportunity to realize your potential. Last June, we decided that we have to build on the successes of the athletes that are here and to prepare for future generations. So we came up with an idea of an Olympic festival. And we are planning to do that again this year, June the 23rd. And in that festival, we celebrate again this year the official Olympic Day that is celebrating all around the world. We plan to host at the A.O. Shirley grounds, and we seek to encourage all people of all ages and abilities to come out and move and try one of our 15 Olympic sports that are under our umbrella. Not only might you find that a sport you like and trigger your interest, and I'm sure the minister may come out and try something and find out that he's very good at an event, and he can continue training right up to festival and into the and into the troop. Along this theme of sport for all and sports for life, the BVI Olympic Committee, in partnership with Canada Sports for Life and the Ministry of Health, is finally restarting what we call the Long-Term Athlete Development Program, a program which was very successful in 2016 and 2017. Right before the storm, we were going to have a big launch of the second phase of that program, and that got delayed. And there again, we found it crucial that we fight and go to international bodies to make sure we have the funding, because we still believe that our young people were the future, this group, and we have to keep our young people active, and we have to make sure that we create opportunities for them so that they stay in the straight and narrow, as we say. The training capacity building in the groundwork of combating non-communicable disease, such as obesity and diabetes, is crucial to this program. We're going to have a series of workshops which open the interest and then check the Olympic bodies and how we can, as an overall holistic approach to the development of our young people and also our seniors. Finally, it is exciting to me to mention the upcoming major games. The Pan American Games is going to be held in July 26th to August 11th at Lima, Peru. The organizers expect to see 6,680 athletes from 41 countries and delegates from the Americas. The 17 days of competition will include 39 sports and 62 disciplines. While athletes will compete for gold, silver, and bronze medal, a total of 23 disciplines are qualifiers for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Now, the Pan American Games is the major games of this region. It stretches from the countries are from Canada down to Argentina. And what is unique about this and why we are excited to be going to the Pan American Games this time is that we are one of 2 countries that have never won a medal at the Pan American Games. And we're hoping it's changed, definitely. And surprisingly, at the last Pan American Games, I got a call from a reporter, and I thought, well, he's going to ask me something excited about the British Virgin Islands. He said, how does it feel to be the president of an Olympic committee, one of 2 Olympic committees that have not won a medal at the Pan American Games? Needless to say, that interview didn't last too long. We already have 3 athletes that have qualified for the Pan American Games. And while I was just sitting, I was just told that Chantel Malone just qualified with probably one of the longest jump of the year in long jump. Number 1. Okay, there you go. We have, of course, Kyron McMaster in the 400-meter hurdles, Eldred Hendry in the shot put and discus, and Tad Letsom, a 16-year-old laser sailor who would be the first sailor to represent the Virgin Islands in these games since the 1990s. And what's impressive about Tad Letsom is last year when we had the Olympic Festival, we said, okay, well, we're going to bring some emerging young athletes to inspire other athletes to aspire to be in games. And Tad showed up. And he gave a speech to everybody and everything, and not knowing that he was going to be the next Pan Am athlete and probably one of the next Olympic sailors for the British Virgin Islands. We anticipate that we will have a few more athletes hitting the mark, and as I said, I think grandfather, you can correct me, Recoy is close. He made it. Recoy Brathwaite is right on. So we're going to have a good team. We're going to have a great team at the Pan American Games, and I'm sure we'll be back here celebrating their accomplishment. In closing, I must admit that just like the minister, I get teary-eyed when I watch the replay of the boys 200 and what happened there. But my favorite event of the whole game was the 400, under 17, 400, 4x4. I was home watching the event, and I saw we won 4th around the 300-meter marks. I said, well, we are finished. And then at the 200, I saw something start to happen. I don't know what happened. You got to tell us. This young athlete here, you got to tell us what happened. But and she just kept moving and moving. And I think Cleve told me that she told him at the interview later that I was not settling for no bronze. I wanted a silver or gold in the. You see, as we work to rebuild the country as seniors, we can take valuable lessons from these athletes. to show that although we have gone through difficult times, they have made the sacrifice to do great things. And we just need to stay focused, continue supporting them. And as I said, I'm so elated to have heard the good news from the minister of that support coming. And I can guarantee you that Steve will continue to do his best with his team. The coaches will do their best. The athletes definitely are focused, laser focused. And the sky is the limit for us once we stay together and the family support remains as strong as it is. I would just like to, again, thank you for coming out. Thank you, athletes, for, as I said when we had the session at the field there, you brought memories to my face when I remembered, I think Dean was there walking around. I remember, I don't want to age myself, but 43 years ago, we were the first ones to go off to the CARIFTA Games. And I looked in their eyes and I said, there's something special about this group. They look like they have no fear. They're fearless. And I told them, just looking at them, they made me proud. And I'm sure that when they go to the games, they will make the British Virgin Islands proud. They certainly did, and they made the Caribbean stand up and notice and take stock of the British Virgin Islands. Thank you very much, and all the best to you.
Good afternoon, all. Listen, I feel so good today. And I'll tell you why, before I get into what I'm here to speak about today. And I'm just going to speak. I figured today I just want to come and I just want to speak to you guys. I was in the motorcade this afternoon. My phone started. I think Ralston mentioned it a few seconds ago. Ricoy Bradwick, 10:39 just this afternoon at the Penn Relays. That's a lot to be excited about. Our national record is 10:2 and he just ran 10:39. That guy is well on the way of doing something great this year. And not to sidetrack the entire afternoon, but President of the OC, Ephraim Penn, just spoke about Chantel's jump today, 6.90 meters. We just checked it on the IAAF website. The previous best in the world prior to today was 6.8 something meters. She's now number 1. All right? If that's not enough to be satisfied about being the president of the BVI Athletics Association, then I don't know what is. The job that these guys did, it just adds the icing on the cake. Listen, Hurricanes Irma and Maria definitely set us back a few years ago, but I think the comeback is even sweeter than the setback that we had. And for that, I must give these guys a round of applause. You know, I've always been one to say that BVI, we've always had the talent. It's just that we never really had the opportunities. And those opportunities are becoming more present, and you see what's happening once we get those opportunities. We keep showing up and showing up and showing up, and I guarantee you, next year's the Olympics. Keep looking at BVI Athletics and see what happens. Now, we're here to celebrate the accomplishment of these kids, and I just wanted to make it clear. We spoke while we were there at the CARIFTA Games. I spoke to some of the athletes on the track. The accomplishment that you see or that took place at the CARIFTA Games wasn't just an overnight accomplishment. These guys have been walking and walking and walking at it since the passing of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. If you visit the track Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it doesn't stop there, come out on Saturday and you see what takes place on the track. Those kids are out there, they're walking, and I'm super happy that their hard work has paid off. Now, as I stand here, before I get into the heart of why we're here, I felt it necessary because the accomplishment of the kids are tied to the hard works of the coaches. And if the coaches are here, I want to acknowledge the coaches. And if you're here, I either want you to stand or just wave your hands so people can see who you are. Winston Potter, I do believe he traveled, so I know for sure he's not here. Willis Stodman, he's not here. I know he's away as well. Lemuel Hodge, is Lemuel here? I saw Lemuel somewhere in the back. Is Lemuel here? He's somewhere in the back. Lemuel? I'll move on. Just tell him to come on up. Omar Jones. Bert Dorset. And we have Lemuel in the black back with the shades on. Lemuel. Jennifer King, is she here? She's somewhere in the back. Carl Barrett. Owen Telemac. Coach Reds from Vojangada. Is he here? Somewhere in the back. Annabelle Skelton Malone. Lindell Hodge. Akim Lewis. Erica Frederick. I know she's here. Right in the front. Ralston Henry. Everyone knows Ralston, grandfather. Raphael Jack, is he here? Raphael Jack. It's on his way. Cliff Williams. Orville McMaster. Coach Spuddle. And I can't call names without also recognizing the fact that the fruits of Coach Samuel's labor is still paying off. So Coach Samuels, we're still recognizing you here today. Now, one of the things that I was really happy about traveling to the CARIFTA Games is that we have what has been coined or informally constituted, for lack of a better word, the PCA. I think is what they call themselves. And I want to recognize them there in the back. And if you don't know what PCA means, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the Parents CARIFTA Association. Listen, you guys mightn't understand, but I know when those kids were on the track, on the field, wherever they were, you know, the voices of the coaches, they're limited. You have to visit the CARIFTA Games to see what takes place there. It's noisy. It's very noisy. And when you're on the field or on the track or at the long jump runway, whatever it is, and the simple fact that you can hear someone in the crowd shouting your name, I have experienced it, other coaches, we've all experienced it, it makes the world of a difference. And for the PCA, listen guys, thank you very much. Now, as it's been said before, the performances were certainly, at least for the coaches that went with the team and the executive, it wasn't necessarily a surprise to us because we had the liberty of seeing these kids compete at our Dag Samuels Development Meet Series throughout the entire year. And if you were to make your way out there on any given Saturday that we're out there, you would note that as these kids continually contested their respective events, the times continued to drop and drop and drop and drop. So we had indicators. We knew that something good was going to happen, and we went out there and we lived that moment. Now, the minister spoke a tad bit about some of the meets that are slated for the rest of the year, and so did our OC, but I felt it necessary just to give you guys a prelude as to what's to come for the remainder of the year. I spoke about the fact that we're going to have the Dag Samuels Development Meet Series continue for the remainder of the season. We have the first one recommencing on May 14th. I invite you guys to come on out and support these kids, because the support you give to these kids goes a very, very, very long way. And there's something here that's not a coincidence. If you stop and you take a note, these kids, all the kids that are doing very well, stop and take a note. Their parents are religiously out there with those kids each and every Saturday. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Whether you're a parent, a friend, or supporter, give these kids your support. We have our youth championships that's slated for May 4th. I invite you guys to come out and see what takes place there. We have NACAC under 23 and under 18 slated for the 5th to the 7th of July. I guarantee you that great things are going to happen there. You guys keep track, follow our Facebook page. We'll keep updating you as to what takes place there. Our president of the Olympic Committee spoke about the fact that we're going to have Pan Am's under 20. That takes place, as he said, there about the 19th of July. Again, that's another regional international meet that you need to be mindful of. We have World Championships slated for the end of the year. That's somewhere there about October, towards the end of the year. That's definitely something to look out for. Listen, guys, this year, working in tandem with the association, the BVI Toilet Association intended on holding the Toilet meet this year. You guys would have known about the Toilet for the past couple of years. Because of the condition we're in, we're unable to host that meet this year. It's not just a meet that we decide we can put on. We had to apply to NACAC to get permission to put on the meet. It's unfortunate, or it's fortunate, that we've been able to get a new track, and we have additional funding that's going to be injected into the facilities to upgrade the stands, the restrooms, the pavilion. But as it is right now, the track is not where it should be, and we're working closely with the RDA as far as getting those facilities fixed, and I guarantee you, I make this guarantee you as I stand before you here today, we're going to bring Twilight back to the BVI next year, and you're going to get the chance to see all of these kids and all of our international athletes compete right here at home against some of the best that the Caribbean has to offer. You know, I've echoed this many times. If we are able to accomplish so much with so little, imagine what we can accomplish with just a little bit more. And for that, I'm quite happy that the minister stood here before us today and said that he's definitely looking into providing some additional funding, because I know that we can achieve a whole lot more with just a little bit more financial assistance than what we currently have. So to Minister, I look you full in your face and I say thanks. And to Ephraim, the president of the OC, it won't stop me a bit. I'm still going to call him, because we need all the support we can possibly get. Track and field is not just about winning a race. It goes a lot further than that. What we're doing here is we're changing people's lives. We're giving them opportunities and providing opportunities, educational opportunities that would probably not have come had they not pursued track and field as they did. So, you know, it's a lot more than simply crossing the line, winning a race, and enjoying a moment for just a few seconds. There's a lot that track and field has to offer. You want to approach it from the educational standpoint. That's definitely something we support. And if you want to jump pro, like some of our athletes have already done, you know, there's opportunities out there, and we support our athletes 110%, whatever direction they so decide to go. I coined this statement before in saying that the confidence shown and the tenacity shown in the fight of these athletes was more than enough for us to celebrate. Whether or not they win and they grabbed a medal or they didn't grab a medal, the fact that they went out there with the confidence that they had and they fought a good fight on the track, I think that's more than enough for us to be happy for. And to the athletes, I give each one of you a round of applause for showing that you have that fight in you. Now, I'm going to run through a bit of the performances, the athletes in the performances. You're going to be formally introduced to the athletes, but I'm just going to run through the names a bit. Jaleel Kroll, we all know that he went 10-8 in the 100. And listen, after Jaleel Kroll ran that night, for some reason, you know, there were restrictive zones on the track. I used my position to get my way down to the finish line, and I was fine there. But when I got there, I saw Ralston, I saw, I think, Coach Barrett. There's a few people there, and I was quite surprised that they were there, because the tension in the air, it was just too hard to stand in the stands and watch that race. So we had to get down on the infield and see what was going on. And after Jaleel ran, he was interviewed by, I think, Cleve and Dean. And as he was speaking to Dean, I watched and I listened to him. And despite the fact that he had just done something great, we felt the beauty of our medal in the 100 meter just last year, if you guys remember, with Ricoy Bradwitt, I think, grabbing a bronze in the under 20 100. Despite the fact that he would have been the second person to do that, as he spoke, and that's how I know something good was about to happen. He was happy that he had won his race, but he made reference to the fact that his favorite race was not the one. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said that your favorite race is the 2. That was the 200 that he was going to run the following day. So I knew that something good was about to happen. And on the day of the 200, now for those of you who were there, you would have realized, or you would have recognized very quickly, I came to the track maybe a half an hour before the activities were slated to take place, and I couldn't find a parking spot. I had to park maybe a half a mile away from the track and walk in. That surprised me. And then when I got to the track, I realized that my ability to make myself down to the infield as I had done the night before wasn't going to happen that night. The people who were doing all the checks and balances, they were all there making sure that you sat where you were supposed to sit. So for the 200, I sat in the middle of the grandstand, and I watched the race. Jaleel came and did his thing out of lane number 8. As a matter of fact, we spoke to Jaleel while he was warming up and said, you know, Jaleel, you're in lane number 8. He didn't need much encouragement, to be quite honest with you. The guy has a heart of a lion, and he's eager. And I think what you've seen here is just an indication of a whole lot more that's going to come. And when the race was finished, there was a pause at the stadium. It probably lasted only a half a second, but it felt like 3 minutes. Because there was a sense of shock that of good friends, without calling names, didn't take that race, because they were almost guaranteeing themselves that they would. And as I sat there, the president of the Jamaica 3A, Dr. Warren Blake, he walked right over to me and he shook my hand. He said, son, you have something good there. I don't think, Jalil, you heard that before. But when someone like that comes over to you, and it wasn't just him, I won't call names today, but we've been approached by 2 schools in Jamaica that are very interested in Mr. Kroll. Now, I passed that information on to his coach, and I also passed some additional information on with him because I feel that if his coach was good enough to get him to this point, it's good enough to get him a tad bit further. Okay? And just today, I usually, before I come up here and speak, whenever I do anything that relates to athletics and speaking about athletics, I always either give Mr. Ray O'Neill a call out of respect, or I visit him and just have a casual discussion with him because he's a guy that has a wealth of knowledge that all of us, including myself, can benefit from. And I sat there with Mr. O'Neill earlier today, and we got a call. I got a call from Victor Lopez, the president of NACAC, calling simply to say, Steve, congratulations on your performances at the CARIFTA Games. You're getting a lot of regional and international attention based on what Team BVI accomplished at the CARIFTA Games. And to you guys, that's pretty big. And when we speak of NACAT, for those of you who don't know, this is North American, not Central America, all those countries, all of them. He's responsible for those countries, and here he is calling me right here in the BVI simply to say congratulations. That felt really good. I'm going to run through the other athletes. Kaiba Dawson. Where's Kaiba? Kaiba. Big Kaiba. I can't call him small Kaiba no more. It's Big Kaiba. If you guys remember Kaiba last, I don't know what it is. Kaiba shoot up at least a foot in height between last year and this year. You guys recognize that? Nonetheless, I was sitting in the stands, eating my popcorn, sitting next to Kaiba's mom. Now I'm sitting in the stands eating popcorn, and Kaiba's mom, she's an emotional wreck. She's wiping her hands, her sweaty hands, she's wiping them in my pants. She's all nervous. Every time Kaiba jumps, she wants to say something. I'm like, you know, we're here, just enjoy it. But nonetheless, we call her Cat at the track. I was glad to have shared that moment with you. I know that there's a lot more that's going to come along with that. And one of the things I like about what Kaiba did at the CARIFTA Games is that you guys remember Keita Klein, a very prominent long jumper that represented the BVI over the years. You know, he reached out to Kaiba to share some word of advice with him. Kaiba, I think you're one of, I can't find the words right now. There's a lot in store for you. Keep a sound mind. Listen to your mom, listen to your coaches, and continue to do what you do, and I guarantee you there's a lot in store for you as the days, months, and weeks roll along. And Kaiba's distance, I just verified it today. He has the best under 16 long jumps distance of any athlete that ever represented the BVI, so give him a hand. And that is information he is just knowing. This is not something that was said before. He's just knowing this for the first today. Krissa, Iristi, I remember last year I sat up on the 50 meter of the 400, and I watched Krissa ran last year, and I think, what was it, 55 seconds in the 400? You had run somewhere about there, Krissa. And she was a finalist last year, and she came back this year, ran 54.1 to take second in the 400 at Krissa. Congratulations. Again, I've told you that many times before. I don't think anyone saw that coming, but you know, the quarter mile, I have a special affection for the 400, what we call the 400, the quarter mile, because that's not an easy race. No race is easy to begin with, but a quarter mile is definitely one of those. It's a sprint. There's no easing off in that race, and if I believe that we have the videos on our Facebook page. If they're not there, they will be there. But you guys take the time out and go in and look at what these kids did. Look at what Krissa did. Silver medalist. She's only on the 17, so we have her back again next year on the 20. Yeah, a few years still left in CARIFTA. So she has a few more medals that she's going to grab, and we're going to continue to support her. So give her a hand once again. Jaiman Gums, 54.76 for Todd in the discus. I mean, those guys are fighters. Watching those guys, you know, it's an awesome thing. And one of the things I like with those guys is that, you know, I said it before, and I think I need to say it again. These are not just performances that happen overnight. These guys, I forgot how many throws, what is it, 12, what is your aim for the year? 1,200 throws before you compete? I think Omar was telling me how many times these guys go out. How many? 12,000, not 1,200, 12,000. So between the preseason and now, these guys have practiced throwing that discus and shot somewhere in the region of 12,000 times. That's a lot. That's a lot. And for the dedication you guys have shown, I applaud you on that. Beyonce de Freitas. Now, this was a special one because Beyonce ran her 200 right after Jalil had done his magical, his magic in the 200. And of course, we're there, and the crowd is in another, you know, the tension is high. And by the time Beyonce made her way to the track, everyone in the crowd had known that, well, this is a guy from the BVI who had someone that just ran the 201. And I remember this young lady sitting behind me, she tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "We're not giving you this one, you know." No, she said, "You're not going to win this one, you know." So I looked around at her kindly and I said, "We're not going to give it to you either." And of course, Beyonce, who's not here, she's back in school, went out there and did her thing from another outside lane. And, you know, kudos to what she did. It just goes to show. You know, we had Wade Van Erich breaking the world record, what was it, a year or two ago in the 400 meter out of lane number 8. And all BVI athletes are doing great things out of lane number 8. There you go. So, Beyonce, congratulations. I presume you're going to see the video on this, and you did well. Now, we had some girls in the 4x4 relay. You guys heard about it. You know, the coaches, before those girls ran, we were continually meeting. And I remember meeting with Coach Todman before they ran. We had already seen what Akrissa had done in the 400. I haven't spoken about Miss Leibert as yet, but she was a finalist in the 400 as well. And we had, what was it? Aria, right? Sorry, I got in my notes, I'm looking at the 4x1, but I'm speaking about the 4x4. We had Aria and Jactivia, right? Yeah, in the 4x4. And we had already predicted. We didn't tell them anything. We didn't say anything to them because you have to keep them on the edge. You have to make sure that they want it and they don't get too comfortable thinking that they're going to medal. But we had already predicted that we would medal. It's just a matter of whether or not it was going to be a gold or a silver. Mr. O'Neill had already given me his predictions, and he as well had predicted that they would medal. So we were pretty confident that we were going to do something great. And I watched those girls go out. You guys did the very same thing. We knew putting Akrissa on leg number 1 was going to be something magical, because if you have someone that took silver in the 400 lead and off your 4x4, it's only a given that she's going to come off to the exchange, either in force or somewhere close to. And just that she went out and did. So give her a round of applause for the leg that she ran. Of course, Aria Smith. Well, Kelia, you ran second leg, right? Kelia ran second leg. And if you guys don't know, where's Bate? Her dad is Kitty Leibert, we call him Bate. You know, her dad was a great track athlete back in the day. He's here, and obviously that talent has passed on to his daughter now. I think she's a little bit faster than him, though, from what I recall. But nonetheless, you know, and Kelia, and I'll say this, you know, Kelia trains with Coach Reds over in Virgin Gorda. Not on a rubberized track like all the other athletes here in Tortola. What she does in Virgin Gorda is primarily on grass. And we're certainly walking, because one of the things is we have a few additional lanes that were left over from the walks that we did at the track, and we're going to do our best. And Minister, I want you to walk with me on it, because Coach Reds has continually been asking me to find a way to give him just a straightaway that's compacted and concreted, and we have the lanes. He just wants a few lanes so he can make it a little bit easier for his athletes over in Virgin Gorda to train. And I'm going to speak to you more on that, because I definitely want to give the athletes over in Virgin Gorda, and we're going to spin over to Annigan and just from there. We want to give them the same amount of opportunities that we're giving our kids right here on the mainland, okay? And Jactivia, one of the things you guys must realize, Jactivia anchored the leg, and Jactivia's coach is the very same person that trains Jalil Kroll, the same coach. And I'm going to give you a little surprise on that a little bit later on. Jactivia is a sprinter. She's a fighter. If you watch her run at the development meets, every time that girl runs, it's showtime. Every time. It doesn't matter what it is. She has the heart of a lion in Jactivia. Stick with that. That's going to get you places. Diamante, you took fourth in the no, in the discus. He's feeling a tad bit sick today, if I recall right, and he was doing pretty good up until what was it, the last throw by the Grenadian. So the Jamaican, yes. So we almost had another medal there and just lost it on the last throw. But guess what? We have under 20. We'll fix that, right? All right. Ariana Haid scored a total of 4,424 points in the heptathlon. I just verified it today, so she doesn't know. But that's the best accumulation of points for any under 20 athlete that have ever represented the BVI. So give her a round of applause for that. Now this one made me smile. Palisa Caesar. Where's Palisa? I think those guys in the Cayman Islands gave Palisa a foul. And Palisa wasn't happy with that. I have never seen an athlete argue with officials as long as Palisa argued that foul with, because she wasn't about to give up on the fact that she had fouled. and I think, wasn't it? No, it was the guys. It was the guys. But she stood her grounds and she fought for it. And even though she wasn't a medal winner on this occasion, the attitude that she showed in arguing her case, watch and see what happens next year. Jaiman, what was it, 1552 in the, right, in the discus? The shot, that's right, in the shot. Good showing again. We had Chaz Foy. Chaz Foy is not here. He went back to school, I believe in the Fort Lauderdale area. He ran a time of 2:01.71 in heat number 2 of the 800. So Chaz, you're not here, but Chaz told me he's going to come back. He's going to put a little bit more effort in getting that 400 down packed, and we're going to see what he's going to do for the remainder of the year. Chaz, the 400. Yes, the 400. I had a little discussion with him after he ran, and I spoke with his dad yesterday. He's excited, he's eager. If you look at the guy, you can see potential. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What's happening here is magical, and some magic will continue to happen. I spoke about Kelia already, it's her debut, her debut in the 400. Making a final on a first year in the 400. Kelia, stand up. I want people to see you. They're going to see you again, but I want them to see you. Give her a hand. Thank you very much. You see she have a medal around her neck too, right? All right. Joshua Hill, he's not here. He's not here, right? Yeah, right. He's not here. He's back at school. See? His dad, another great athlete like Mr. Leibod. But by all indications, as good as Brother Hill was, by all indications, I think his son is going to surpass him. We had a team in the 4x1 that consisted of Amia Todman, Jativia Williams, Akela McMaster, and Aria Smith running the 4x1. And listen to me very carefully. A few years back, we took a chance with 4 girls that went out. Well, what medal they won, grandfather? It was the silver medal in the medley relay at what meet it was? World Youth. And we did the same thing this year. We're allowing these athletes to get their feet wet very early. You know, on the last night of the meet, we had our meeting outside the hotel, and it was a fun time. We gave every athlete a fair opportunity to take the mic. The mic was a knife. and the MC, which was Brother Gums, insisted that you speak into the knife. But nonetheless, we spoke, and it was a joyous moment because we weren't trying to be formal. We were just trying to be who we are, and you heard from the athletes. And as I sat there and I started to reflect, you know, the truth is, for some of the older ones, including myself, someone gave us a chance back in the day. And I think for a minute there, we started to get a little too eager in turning the CARIFTA Games to an elite meet from what it should be as compared to being a development meet. There are kids that I sat there and I thought about that remained or stayed back in the BVI that had they had gone to the CARIFTA Games, it's very likely that they would have run personal bests. And there was one or two events that I know we probably would have medaled in had we given those kids the opportunity. And as I sat there the night and I spoke with the athletes and the parents and the supporters and the friends and everyone who was there, I said, and I made a promise, and Minister, I like including you. I made a promise, and you have to make sure that I deliver on this promise next year. I want to take a bigger team to the CARIFTA Games. I heard him speak a lot about the association being in a better financial position. So come next year, it wouldn't and it shouldn't be a case that because of our financial standings, we are unable to take more athletes. I want to take more athletes. I want to give those athletes a chance. A bigger PCA, definitely a bigger PCA all the way. But I want to take a bigger team, and I just don't want to take a bigger team because we're still going to push you guys. You guys and your friends and everyone else that's on the track, I want to push you guys to continue to excel and to meet those marks. But for sure, we're going to take a bigger team, we're going to take a bigger PCA team, and we're going to bring back more medals right here to the BVI. And when next year comes and I'm standing at the same podium saying the same thing, I'll say that I told you guys that last year. All right? So we're going to make that happen. Orlando Douglas, I didn't forget you. Where's Orlando? Oh, he's right here. He's a tall guy, you know. He stood up next to me in the games, and it's only then I realized the boy taller than me. He's a tall guy. Orlando is young. He just got his feet wet at the CARIFTA Games. He has many years still left to compete at the CARIFTA Games. Orlando, you saw what took place there. You see what your competition looks like. Come back next year, and you show them what your game is all about. You have a good coach. Stick with your coach. Continue to work hard, and I guarantee you, your time will come as well. I'm kind of wrapping up here now. There's just a few things I want to do. Before I leave the mic, I just want to say, again, special thanks to the BVI Olympic Committee, to Puma. I didn't wear a jacket today because I wanted to sport my nice Puma short. They say when you look good, you run good. And certainly the kids look good and they ran well. So Puma, I say thanks. To Lime for the support that they offered to us, the Ministry of Education and Culture, family, friends, and supporters. If I missed anyone, I'm going to ask my General Secretary, Stephanie Ross-Penn, to please add anyone that I may have missed. This is very informal. I just made some pen marks as I sat there a few minutes ago. I want to give a sales pitch. I have two last things that I'm going to do. I want to give a sales pitch because the Olympic Committee has done really well for us as far as gaining funding so that we have a brand new track at the Eoshali Recreation Grounds. And to that, I am very, very grateful. I've told you that, Mr. Penn, many times over, and I'm doing the very same thing here today. Thank you very much for the efforts that the Olympic Committee has shown in ensuring that BVI Athletics continue to perform and to live on as strong as they can possibly be. Let's give them a hand for that. To my hard-working executive, because what you guys do, you make it easy for me. Most times I show up and I give the nice little speeches and what those guys work hard. Stephanie, Willis, Grandfather, Cleve, I didn't miss anybody, right? Chantel, definitely. Listen, I hear you guys speak about me quite often, but I'm more happy to be amongst you guys because listen, you guys are doing a great job. Don't ever stop. I'm happy to be a part of the executive, and I trust that we can continue and do this for years on. I have two last things that I want to do. The first is a little informal. I'm going to ask our General Secretary, Stephanie Ross-Penn, to come forward. I'm going to ask our Minister responsible for the sport, Minister responsible for education to come forward. What I have with me is a book that's labeled, the book is called A Look Back at CARIFTA, the CARIFTA Games Standouts. That was written by your very own Mr. Ray O'Neill, and I stopped by Mr. Ray O'Neill's office today, and he personally autographed it for us today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to a General Secretary so that she can make a formal presentation to a minister with the book that will provide all the information that he needs to know about the CARIFTA Games. Just two last things, I guarantee you. To our CARIFTA team, I promise not to be short. And trust me, grandfather, am I being long? I'm being very short today, right? To our CARIFTA team, I just got some information from the folks over at Cougars, the Puma store. I want you guys to make a visit over there. There's some goodies there for you guys to collect. That information will be shared to you once you make your way over to the Cougar store. So Cougars, I'm quite happy with what you guys did. And lastly, I'm going to divert entirely from the program. I want to do something here because I think it's needed. It's essential. I'm going to call Jalil's coach. He's not on the program, but I think it's important to hear from him. Gold medalist winner, Jalil coach, Coach Dorset. I am going to officially give Coach Dorset, I'm going to officially give him my last 2 minutes on the mic because I think it's important that we hear something from him. Coach Dorset.
Hello, good night. Evening, sorry. I'm Bert Dorset. As you all have heard, I'm the coach for Jalil Kroll, who had made me proud, I would say, in all ways. I mean, getting him to where he really came wasn't that easy because, like every other kid, they have their ups and downs, their days when they tell coach all about hurting them, when nowhere is hurting them, just for them not to do what they have to do. But I'm a developing coach, and I know there is different ways to develop the very same athlete who say they feel hurt yesterday. You can get them to do what it is you want to do if you know what you're doing. And I kept with them, and for the most part of it, I believe I saw the potential in him and was able to pull it right out of there. I mean, saying I knew he was going to get gold would be very much not so, because I know we're going up against the big world where Jamaica is a #1, yes, we'll call their names, and no disrespect to them, neither try to say we don't know that they can do better than us. But with what I have done and what we have done together, and then the team as a whole, I knew there was a chance for me and Jalil at CARIFTA Games. And that I saw in that 200, even the 100. As his coach, first, when I saw him run 11:09, I say, Jalil never see that since the development season, so he's going to run what he accustomed to see in the finals. And knowing that the 100 is not his best race, I knew I was going to get some fire up there in the 200, you know? I can say that. And that he did. He gave me some fire, and immediately my phone was blowing all the way up. Who called me crying? Who called me cannot say a word? Who called me telling me we just win gold? And everybody. And me alone in a lonely little house in my apartment, just watching a small screen. Just a small screen. But it was a joy, and I sure hope I can do better next time with even more athletes. I got to say one more something about this 1 minute that I have, which I believe I gone past. I also have Jatavia, who gave me the chills and also gave me a reflection back to a past athlete I once coached in Judine. I'll still call her name today, because it was almost a repetition of what Judine does in a 400 relay that I saw come out of Jatavia. So I know we have places to go. And the rest of the team, even the coaches, you all did a good job because you held them together. You held them together and you get the best out of them. I just want to say thank you all. Thanks for the appreciation and the accreditation shown from everybody. Thank you very much.
Okay, the mic is mine again. Thank you, Coach Dorset. Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, we are going to proceed right along. I'm going to invite our athletes representative, Coach Ralston Henry, to join me. I'm also going to invite the minister to also join us as we give some special presentations to this, our 2019 CARIFTA team.
Good evening, everyone. Before we make our presentation, I just want to thank all the coaches who went to CARIFTA, and I want to thank someone on that team especially. And without him, all jokes aside, without him, I don't think we would have had so much medals. Every team walks with a masseuse, a physical therapist. And let me tell you, all physical therapists operate just like Jamaica therapists. Jamaica has 3. Trinidad has 4. All the big islands walk with 3 or 4. We walk with 1. And let me tell you, when you done run your heat and you cool down, you gotta get on that bed. If you go to doping control and you come back to your room and you don't eat, he is texting you, I ready, I waiting on you. That's what a physical therapist do. Ms. Ross can tell you, his position takes up a coach's position on the team, and we have to pay extra. So I'm challenging anyone out there, start paying for a therapist for we. We need him. On the team, I will start with the under 20s. Most of them is not here, but I will start with them. In the 800, we have Chaz Foy. Mr. Barrett. Mr. Barrett. Yeah. Chaz had a tough heat, and it was a fight in his race, and I mean a literal fight. Elbow, it was really nasty in that heat. But he tell me he'll get them next year. Next up in the 400 and 200, he had a personal best in the 2, and he had a splendid 4. Joshua Hill. He will be better than his father. Mr. Hill. You see, Joshua would have reached here already. And we have Ariana Head. She does what we call the dirty walk. She has 7 events in 2 days. And I have never seen her cry. I have never seen her cry like how she cried, because their competition going into the 800 was separated by 100 points. And she broke the national record, but she wanted a medal more. But we will get it. I promise you, we will get it at the Under 20 Championship in Costa Rica later on in summer. And this one is special to me. It was special. The first time I bring this young lady out to the track, I hope I don't cry. The first time I bring Beyonce to the track, her father bring her, and she was out there walking out for months. People turned to me, told me, Beyonce has no talent. She has no talent. I stick with it. Mr. Dorset, Mr. Willis Tadman, we stick with Beyonce. And look where Beyonce is right now. I said to her, before the 200, I said, B, we ain't going after Brianna. We're going to leave Brianna for later on in summer. Brianna is a lot sharper than you. We just want silver or bronze. That's all. And we're going to get Brianna. Remember, I tell you so. And you can tell the Jamaicans, we coming for Brianna Williams with Beyonce the Freitas. Mark my word. Next up, we have, we call them, it's their farewell. This is their last CARIFTA Games. Twin 1 and Twin 2. Jaiman and Jaimante Gums. I like to harass Mr. Penn. Mr. Penn. Costa Rica, they're going to redeem themselves in this discus and in the shot. I'm telling you. You go carry all them? Yeah. You need a wheelbarrow. Under 20. I mean, we're going to the that's our under 20s, and we now move to our under 17. I'm going to start with Orlando Douglas in the discus. Orlando had some little difficulties that he will make adjustments, and I guarantee you, is a lot more to come from this young man. A lot more. We stick with the throws, and one of my favorite, Palliser Caesar. Listen to me. Listen to me. Palliser, as Mr. Augustine said, Palliser fought that official. She fighting her, and before she opened her mouth, she just gave her the look. She gave her this look out of this wall. And the lady was like, what I did? And Palliser like, I didn't know what she was telling her. I called Palliser over, and the first thing Palliser said to me, they can't beat me next year. They can't beat me next year. She's going to medal next year. She is that determined. Next up, I'm going to my little babies, I take a lot of licks for. My little babies, only 14. 14 or 13 making 14. Listen to me. That 47 they ran in the 4x1. If they had gone to Pens, they would have been in the finals at 47, maybe getting in at the last team. But a finalist stands out. I can start with my lead off leg, and Mia Tadman. Ain't got nobody start like how she starts. Right, Talu? She one of the best starts we have ever seen. Next up, we have Akila McMaster. What a third leg. They are coming to the own. What a third leg. This team ain't no joke. Next up, we have Aria Smith from our 4x1 and our 4x4. That's Beyonce's younger sister, but Beyonce is the better half. Facts. But she... This little one, if any one of y'all know the announcer at CARIFTA Games, Keith from St. Vincent, his nickname for Jatavia is Jet Blue. Jet Blue. And he was very amazed by her, that last leg she ran. Jet Blue take off. With 175 to go, Jet Blue are down the runway. And Jatavia, man, you got hat. You got Korosung. And Before we left, I turned to Steve. Me and Steve were standing. I'm a long jumper. And I said to Steve, Kaiba going medal. I went out to Winston Potter and I said, Winston, that little boy going medal. I don't care what you said, he going medal. If you know long jump, under 17, one person jumps 7 meters only, and everything else is just 6.9, 6.8. When Kaiba fouled the first time, I look up to Steve and I say, we got a medal. He fouled. He had no jump in. We got a medal. The two guys who had no experience end up with the gold and the silver medal. The gold went to Barbados, and that was the Barbados only jump. And it only Kaiba fouled by a hair. A 7-meter jump he had. If he had gotten that, would have had 2 goals. But don't worry, I guarantee you, we got a goal next year. At 7:20. I call Kaiba Dawson. Smoosh, smoosh. Yeah. Yes. Next up, I have one of my favorite students when I was teaching in Virgin Islands. She's my favorite student, one of my favorite students. Kayla don't talk for purpose. The most I have ever heard Kayla talk was at CARIFTA. as long as you're around twin 1 and twin 2, you're gonna talk. And Kayla, I'm proud of you. To come from Virgin Islands, that grass track was only 150 meters. You make a final. You were a major part in that 4x4. I commend toodles to you girls. I congratulate you. And she's a top student too. Next. This one, when she ran, me and Coach Baka were down there at the long jump with Kaiba. And when you are at the long jump, you are in a holding area. You can't chair, you can't jump up. When Akrissa had 120 to go, me and Baka jumping for joy. Let me go, Akrissa. And the official is cussing her, telling her, okay, put her eye out of here. But I hearing her, but I cheering Akrissa on. And when we done, she was scolding us all because they were just keep our mouth shut. And we were, as a jump over, we grabbed Kaiba and we were gone. Because we wanted to jump up in that party because we couldn't say any, we had drawn it, so we couldn't say nothing, we had to stay quiet. And it was nice, Akrissa, I appreciate her. And then when she ran the 4x4, she came in the first leg, she came and she stood up by me. No sweating, nothing. I wasn't being pompous, I said, Akrissa, but you weren't tired. The best you go help talks and cake us run a leg. Because listen, and that leg, Akrissa had have the baton first. If the lane order was different in the 400, she beat the Bermuda girl who won gold. And she ain't beat her by a little bit. She beat her by a lot. I can't wait for Mexico when they meet again. It's gonna be on. Akrissa Iresti. And she's from the British Virgin Islands. She was born at P Hospital. We got a birth certificate. We will produce our birth certificate tonight. Peebles Hospital, and it's signed. Because I understand the announcers keep saying Akrissa of St. Lucia. Akrissa of British Virgin Islands, please correct it. No. This man is a Red House man. This is a Red House man. And I honestly, they can tell you from our club, I am very hard on him. I don't let him settle. I don't care if he run fast. Jalil can tell you, Mr. Henry, I can tell you, I don't like that line of preach. You gotta go faster than that. I turned to him, the first time he ran 21.5 is the first time I turned to Jalil a month ago and I said, you're there. You're in the big leagues. Once you reach down 21.5 in a 200 as a junior under 17, you talking about running. When Jalil got lane 8, the last thing I said to him, he said, "My coach, I got lane 8." I say, "Jalil, use a better 200-meter runner. Make them run your race." Them ain't see them. Listen, you ain't seeing them, but they saying you. And I see Jalil put 2 gears. I don't know where he gonna get them from. I don't know where he get the gears. But before I left here, I went into a classroom. I said, "Miss Dennis, we gonna win gold in the 200 in Jamaica." Miss Dennis said, "No sir, no sir." I said, "Miss Dennis, we gonna win gold." When Jalil crossed the finish line, my phone ring. Miss Dennis, tell him congratulations. I didn't need nothing else for the rest of the night. Listen, hey, I love this little boy. Hey, he is the future, along with some others. Jalil, man, the sky's the limit, dog. Gustavo. I know the minister and our president said what they had to say. These kids have 2 major championships remaining. The under-20s have the Pan Am's under-20 in Costa Rica, and Jalilem have the under-18 in Mexico, along with the under-23. That meet is going to be one of the biggest teams we're going to put on a plane, because that under-23 championship, we are talking about Kyron, Mimi, Tarika, all of them along with those will be at that meet. And let me tell you, we got to be like Bahamas. We got to start looking at tickets and looking at hotel from now. We need to support our teams. Listen, I have never seen such a small number make so much noise. Guys, the support goes a long way. We have to support them. And we have to support our coaches. I heard many times, "Send them away, send them away." Jalil ran 21.4. He went nowhere. Right here. Why we on? Fungi fish? Like we got them. We got it here. We don't have to take them nowhere, guys. We have them here. And let me tell you, Steve missed it, and I always back up for him. We have a lot of kids that went off to college this year in athletics, and they're on the scholarship off of their 2 legs, and not a dime their parents are paying for it. As an athlete rep, I encourage you parents, push them to the limit. Let them see what it is. They have to want it. And these kids here, this is the youngest team we have ever put together. But let me tell you, you want to hear the word determination? They are very determined. And they are, one thing I love with them, they are poised. They don't get rattled easy at all when they're in competition. And that's a very good thing. Parents, spectators, when they're out down the track, come out, support them, give them their support all the time. Thank you, and enjoy your evening.
So we are wrapping up this evening, and I just want to say thank you to all the parents, the coaches, the well-wishers, just everybody who makes this sport the awesome sport that it is. And we thank you all for being here and celebrating with us. And yes, I'd like to give apologies on behalf of the Honorable Premier. The house is still in, or this house has been in, and we give he sends apologies that he couldn't be here to share his remarks, but certainly he's proud, and he's going to ensure that you all get the support that you need as time progresses. Thank you everyone for this evening. Thank you for coming out. We need to get a few photo ops before you all go home. I know you're tired of pictures, but it's okay. This is history. This is history. So we'll do that quickly. Parents, be patient. We love you all, and have a great evening.